Okay, happy Friday, everyone. Brad Pinchuk, and I've got Rob Oddie, our Vice President of Safety. Hey, Rob.
Hello, Brad. How are you? Hello, everybody. Nice to join you today.
Yeah, great to be here. We've got a few topics that we want to talk about. We're coming back off the holidays, and a few things to update you on. Rob and I are going to talk about the new training program today as one of the topics. We'll start with that. And so we've got Brian Hammond, who I know is a bit under the weather today, but Brian's going to be leading the program here, the training program, and we're getting ready to get some trainers so we can train some drivers here at Hirschbach, right, Rob?
That's correct, yeah. Brian Hammond, I've had the good fortune of knowing Brian for about 18 years. Brian's got a rich history in the transportation business. He's been in it for about 30 years almost. He's been a driver trainer, driver instructor. He's been a training manager, and he's also led a very successful training program at a big motor carrier. And he's deeply committed to developing drivers and developing trainers, and just a real good person to have on a team and lead up the program.
Yeah, he's been a great addition. The two of you worked together for quite some time, right?
We did, yeah. I think it ended up being about 14 or 15 years, and I know Brian's someone who kind of put me under his arm and helped me develop in trucking, especially with safety. He was one of those persons that I went to if I really needed to understand something well and know that I had a good source of information about how it's right, to kind of sort through what makes sense and what doesn't. You know, I always counted on Brian to get that right, and he always did.
Well, it's funny. Just before Christmas, I went on a trip with Brian.
Yep.
And I went to the Chicagoland area, and Brian and I were in my truck. And we drove to the Chicagoland area, and we had a bunch of videos in the truck, right?
Yep.
And anyway, what I would say is I came out of it. We drove to Chicago together and drove back, and we did a lot of, there were, 3 GoPro cameras or something like that in the truck, and we recorded a lot of footage to use for both our new training program, as well as for just training experienced drivers as well. And I will tell you what, after that trip, I felt like I was a much safer driver. It was really quite an experience.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you had that experience. And it doesn't surprise me that you learn things from Brian, given his breadth of experience and his passion for the role. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing is before we get into the details about the program, and really what we'll be talking about is for those of you that are interested in becoming trainers, Rob will be sharing with you in a moment some of those details, some of the questions or answers to the questions that you will likely have. But in general terms, training programs in the industry can be like anything. There's a right way to do something and there's a wrong way to do something. And there are many training programs in our industry that are not very good. And then there are others that are very good. And the ones that are done right, and the program that Brian managed was one of these programs that was done right and clearly one of the best in the industry. But when they're done right, the result are drivers that are very, very safe drivers, and drivers that also are professional and stay with the organization for long periods of time.
Yeah, you bet. It's an excellent way to add capacity to our fleet to fuel the growth that we're going to have and the success that we're having and are going to continue to have, in addition to our experienced operators. And it's also a wonderful opportunity for experienced operators to give back and to add additional value to the industry, and both to the industry and the company And, it might sound a little hokey. I don't think it is, though. It's even beyond the company and the industry, really to our nation and our overall national health and economic well-being. You do important work as a driver. You move America's economy forward, and because we're such a big economic player in the world, you're moving the world's economy forward. When you do that safely, you're also helping people get home safe and well. And when we can do more of that, and you can add capacity to that important industry, that's a cool thing to do.
Absolutely. Now, this program, we're going to be very selective on both the people that we bring into the program to train, and we're also going to be very selective in making sure that the right people are out there training the drivers. We are going to focus the geographic footprint, I should mention, not necessarily for the trainers, but for the trainees, the people we're training. We're going to focus on certain parts of the country, primarily here in the Midwest and in some of the states that border the Midwestern states is where we're going to focus our efforts in finding new drivers for this program.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the people that'll be doing the training, Rob, you want to talk about what that process is going to look like? When are we going to start bringing on trainers, getting them trained up? What's all that sort of process going to look like?
Yeah, sure. Let me do. As I said, Brian is heading that work, and so he's got more command of the details of it. So I'll speak kind of directionally about what that's going to look like. We're going to put our trainers in a good position to be successful trainers. So we're going to make sure that we support them with some additional training for themselves, both on driving and then certainly using and implementing our protective driving system here. And in addition to that, how to interact well with students and help them grow and learn. One of the things that a lot of training programs get wrong is they kind of miss out on that more just that teaching element of it. And so what that can produce then is some less than productive time in the truck and also some friction between the trainer and the student. So we're going to make sure we support our trainers in those areas to help them be a good coach and teacher for the new driver. We're going to put the students in a good position to be successful, so they're going to have a more expanded orientation and get some additional training before they go out over the road. When they're in the truck with a trainer, we're going to have a structured environment so people know what to be teaching, and we're going to have a support network of safety coaches that can reach out to the trainer and help, and reach out to the student and help to make sure things are working well and the learning that's supposed to happen is happening. Yeah, I think those are broad strokes.
Okay.
As far as who we're looking for trainers, it's people who want to make a real positive difference. It's people who want to, again, like I was saying before, add value back to the company and the industry. If you think about it, generally if you ask someone to think back at a point in their life and say, who made an important difference in your life? Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, a parent will come up as that example, as you'd think it would. Also, though, who makes those lists a lot are a teacher. Mm-hmm. Or a coach I had, right? Whether it was somebody who kind of took another person and took that person and kind of put them under their arm and, let me show you the ropes. Let me show you how this is done. And that makes a big impact. So we're looking for folks who want to make a difference that way, who want to help others along, help them grow into a job that's going to, feed their families, provide their financial security, get them into a great retirement, kind of let them chase down their own hopes and dreams, however they want to design their life. With that CDL and that ability to operate a truck safely, and that's a career path that's good for a lot of people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of these programs that are criticized, they very quickly want to get that trainer and that trainee running as a team, right?
Yep,
I think that's where a lot of programs go wrong. And I know that in our case, with this program, we're not going to do that. That trainer will be, if I'm not mistaken, a minimum of 3 weeks.
Yep.
Making that, being as the trainer. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
you bet. Yeah, a good point, Brad. And that is where people get it wrong. They kind of throw two people together, and then they just kind of drive together, and they're teaming. And it's really not a learning environment. And we're going to make sure we produce a learning environment. It's good for the trainer and good for the student as well. Yeah, so as far as duration goes, we're going to have that probably 3-4 week kind of opportunity. I'd say 3 weeks is a good place to start thinking about it. I think about it as a kind of a rolling classroom. It's going to be really designed to be a learning environment. There'll be some ability towards the end of it to stretch a little bit and get some extra miles out of the truck. For the most part, though, it's a learning environment, and the purpose of it is to help someone develop into a safe and successful Hirschbach driver.
Absolutely. Good. And after they're fully trained, depending on the fleet that they're in, if they're going to be getting into one of our dedicated fleets, they can graduate to be a solo operator at that point. If they're running in one of our over-the-road operation, for example, and the trainer and the trainee have a good relationship and they want to keep working together as a team. Once that individual is fully trained, they can do that for, a shorter period of time or a longer period of time. Those options will be available, and certainly the compensation for our trainers and trainees will be.
And it also helps people, like Brad said, maybe after you do something like this, you have a new path for yourself as a way to contribute as a driver. So yeah, we want to be flexible, and we want to also make sure we meet the marks, and like Brad said, do it right. That's how we do things at Hirschbach. We drive right here.
So what's the timing then, Rob? What as far as getting this program up and running? We've got some excellent operators out there that want to help and create other safe professional operators here at Hirschbach. What do they do if they're interested?
So yeah, great question. Thank you. So right now the timing is raise your hand right now. We're going to have a place on your app, our Hirschbach app, where you can put in a brief application to become a trainer. Just want a couple of basic pieces of information about you, and that'll flow back to one of our safety coaches who will connect with you or check things out. You'll have an opportunity to visit with Brian or one of our coaches and get you on board. From there, we're going to do some training of those trainers, like I mentioned, and we have a target of around mid-February to start pairing up students with trainers and start the program. And what's cool about it now is it's going to look different a year from now, right? It's going to be a lot more infrastructure, sure. A lot more, it's going to be a lot more developed. You get in now, you're going to have a cool opportunity to contribute to the program from the beginning. And I know we've had training here before. I don't want to discount that, and many of you have trained before, so I'm not going like that to this. It's more of a we get to participate in this reinvigoration of it and get in on the ground floor with it. You're always welcome. It's just kind of cool to be in on something from the beginning.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, that's the training program. We're very excited to create some real safe and professional operators here at Hirschbach, and looking forward to having you participate in helping us do that. So, if you're interested and you want to be a part of the program, as Rob said, just raise your hand. We'll get some more information out to you, some more details, and you'll get some information on where on the app you can raise your hand and so forth.
Yeah, you bet. And you can also reach out to your driver manager, talk to your safety coach, just express your interest any way you can, and we'll chase you down for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are also going to talk about a few other topics, I think, today. Rob's role as our Vice President of Safety. Rob's now, it seems like Rob's been with us for, a couple years, but how many months has it been now?
I guess 6 and 6 1/3 or so, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, I started just early July.
Great.
Yeah. Well, am I wearing on you that much, Brad? It
Yeah,
feels
well,
like a couple of years or what?
No, I think I'll say we've got 2 years worth of progress. How's
Well,
that?
wow, okay, I'll take that. Yeah, I like that framing.
So no, I think, we get up here and we talk a lot about, that, Hirschbach is going to be the safest fleet in the country. And I've increased that recently to say the world, right?
You have, yeah.
I have.
Brad moved the goalpost.
Move the
Yeah.
goalpost a little bit. But and a lot of times on this format and others, I talk about how we just have no tolerance for unsafe behavior, and oftentimes when I'm talking, I say I'm talking to a very select few. That most of you, the vast majority of you, are doing an incredible job out there operating safely and professionally. I'd like to share with you some good news that we are seeing some incredible progress and improvement in eliminating unsafe behavior. So the few people that I was talking to not too long ago, that group is even smaller today, and it's significantly smaller. And there's different ways that we can measure that, whether that be our accident rates, the triggering events that are coming to us through the Lytix cameras on the unsafe behavior. For example, on the number of camera events that we're getting, they're down over the last 90 days. They're down a crazy amount. How much is it, Rob?
Yeah, it depends on when you look, week to week, stuff like that. It's in that neighborhood of 35% reduction in those behaviors that, cause those event recorders to record a piece of, that little segment of video that they do.
I mean, that's really significant, and a lot of great work from Rob and your team, the safety coaching team, that are really spearheading that, but the whole organization, certainly the operations group and our drivers are being receptive to changing their behavior.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to give a shout out to our coaching team. They care deeply about the work they do. They care deeply about our drivers. They care deeply about the organization, and they've been leaning in and doing a lot of good work historically, and have ramped that up recently. And the other thing you mentioned, and I'm going to double back on it, definitely a shout out to our driver managers, our fleet managers, and other folks in operations. None of this works if we're not, all in. So all in is what? We're going to go all in, full commitment, and it's also everyone. Some people think that there's a disconnect somehow, that safety cares about safety and operations cares about operations, and that there's this difference, and there's not. Safety cares about safety and operations. We want our drivers making a bunch of money and being productive and staying here till they retire, and operations cares deeply about safety, and they certainly care about that financial reward as well. So we speak with one voice, and one of the things that's been really fun to see is how the driver managers are coming alongside the coaches and reinforcing, the coaching, and reinforcing the expectations, and reinforcing the standard, and the kind of pride that comes with that esprit de corps of doing something right. It's really fun to see. And so, definitely it's a big body of work that the whole team gets after.
Absolutely. Well, good. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for your continued commitment to operating safely out there and being professionals. Very proud of all of you and the organization and the job that you're doing, and it's exciting to see all this great progress that's being made. And but we're not there yet. We are on our way to becoming the safest fleet out there till we get there. And it's really just so. the smaller group of unsafe behavior is getting smaller, as I said, and we'll continue to knock it down and get it smaller and smaller and smaller, and we're not going to be satisfied until no one is speeding, no one is following too close, no one is being distracted when they're out there operating, no one is driving fatigued. You know, the stakes are just far too high. You know, your safety, the safety of those around you, is really first and foremost. And we need to really make sure. I think that I mentioned when I was out there driving with Brian recently, I felt like I came back a safer driver.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we really got to keep challenging yourselves, even those of you that are doing a great job out there. Challenge yourself. Can you do even better? Can you do even better? Type of thing. I mean, I thought I was pretty safe before, but I came back after this experience at a different level. You know, my eyesight, for example, where my eyes were focused on the road, changed while I was out there.
Yeah, that's an interesting one you mentioned. Brian mentioned that to me a long time ago. He said one of the hardest things, you know, he develops new drivers, and he said one of the most challenging things to get a new truck driver to do is to stop driving like you're driving a car.
Yeah.
And the idea there is that when we drive cars, we generally can fall into this habit of kind of only looking out a little bit when you drive. Mm-hmm. And so in our Hirschbach Safe 6 protective driving techniques, we've got a technique called right sight. Yeah. And right sight, in large part, is about looking as far down the road as you can see when you drive.
It was amazing. My eyes were stretched so far out there, and what happened as a result is I wasn't having any surprises.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
I'm picking up the guy that's pulled off on the shoulder. He's 2 miles up. I got plenty of time to safely move over.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at the interchange that's coming up a mile ahead and starting to mentally prepare myself if I'm going to, you know, if someone's going to be coming on the entrance ramp and so forth.
I love how you said it, no surprise.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I listen to a lot of drivers, and one of the things that catches my ear when they say all of a sudden, and I'll say like, well, all of a sudden what? Well, all of a sudden there was a police car on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Well, okay, did that cop car just kind of pop up, or were you not looking far enough down the road? And the wisdom you get from that perspective gives you just what Brad said. You get more time to make good decisions.
Yeah.
Things are less of a reaction. They're not a reaction to something. They're a response.
Yeah.
And so one of our techniques is right response. It's not right reaction. Reaction sounds sudden. Mm-hmm. Response sounds thoughtful.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're in Chicago. Think about how you can see the skyline of Chicago, 20 miles out.
Yeah, sure.
And you're not missing anything up front. Your peripheral vision still picks up those things. If you need to look over there, get your eyes out. Yeah, it's interesting you bring that one up, because he said that's one of the toughest things to get people to do is look way out there.
Yeah, so my eyesight went out. The other thing I'd really focused on was right distance.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talk about the right distance being 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And we know that, you know, we got 80,000 pounds moving down the road, 60 plus miles per hour. I mean, the laws of physics require us to have a significant cushion in order to be able to stop that vehicle if necessary, right?
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing, is that that's your job is governed by laws. There's legal laws. It's also governed by, like Brad said, the laws of physics. You know, we have to comport with the laws of the universe, like gravity and momentum and things like that. That's why that distance needs to be there. So when something happens, there's time, right, to make the right response and get yourself stopped, so you don't have that rear end crash. You know. So yeah.
Yeah, and here I'm driving in Chicago traffic. It's pretty congested and so forth. And yeah, people are going in front of me and so forth. But, they don't want to get in front of me and stay in front of me. And
Yeah.
so, I just, in some cases, you back up and slow your
Yeah.
speed. In other cases, you maintain your speed and they just pull away.
You bet.
But, it was just a very, I'm not going to use the term relaxing. I don't know what term I want to use. I felt very much confident, I should say, when I was operating, because there were no surprises. And it was interesting. I kept in my mind, as opposed to just sort of hanging on, I kept in my mind, I kept going, do I have the right sight? Do I have the right speed? Do I have the right distance? It was almost like, I just kind of kept my mind occupied, just kind of going on, just asking myself these questions.
Yeah, confidence is a great word. My head was kind of going to calm.
Yeah.
It's just a more peaceful, calm environment when you're now, Brad, you still were moving forward. You still made time. You still were progressing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people think what we're talking about is if you're driving that way, you're always going to be backing up. They say, I'm always going to be backing up, and it's not that. It's picking a speed just a little bit slower than everybody else, right? Moving forward, safe and steady. And I think there's an old Supreme Court case out there somewhere, tortoise versus hare, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the name of this Supreme Court case,
Yeah,
right?
I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and slow and safe and steady, and when you're doing that, people pull away from you. Sometimes they don't, but we know. Sometimes they get in front there and they loiter.
Yeah.
You got to make an adjustment.
Yeah. You slow
That's
down.
the way it is, though.
I had Ken Yates up here a few months ago, and I've said this several times, but Ken is a perennial best of the best operator here at Hirschbach, and an amazing operator. Really, is just you talk about his safety profile, his operations profile, you name it. This guy is a rock star, and I'm up here asking him to what's the secret to his success? What advice would he give? And the first thing that came out of Ken's mouth was, go slow.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, and he started talking about it in more detail. It was take your time, be slow. And here's a guy that puts, he gets all sorts of good miles and making all sorts of money. And but what he started going into more detail, and it really dovetails into what we've created as a Safe Six. But he's talking about in preparation, make sure that you take your time and inspect your equipment. Make sure you take your time and know the route you're going to take, and so taking your time to make sure you get ready. Going slow, literally. Making sure that you got the right speed and so forth out there, but never being in a hurry. He said that's how you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, you bet. I'm going to add on to, because after Brad and Brian went to Chicago, Brian and I jumped in a truck and went back, and I watched Brian drive.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah. And so it was just fascinating because we wanted to find the heavy traffic, right? We're looking for it.
Sure.
Because that's where it is. And so we're driving along, and it's like, man, where's all the heavy traffic? It's a true story, right? And it's like, it's over on that side, going the other way. And so we're like, all right, well, let's finish this. And Brian knows Chicago well, so he's like, I can get and turn around and come back. Then we'll find the heavy traffic. So we're over on that side now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no heavy traffic. It's like, where's the heavy traffic? God damn it, it's over there now, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back. And what dawned on us finally, and he knew, we were in heavy traffic.
Yeah.
When we looked ahead, it was all up there.
Yeah.
And I said, Brian, look behind you. He says, yeah, there's heavy traffic there too. It didn't look like we were in heavy traffic. We were. Mm-hmm. It's because it's moving away, and it was really interesting to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I was expecting, we're gonna, be in this, constant, type of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to do, and we drive right, and it's fun. So it's A lot of good things going on here. You know, when Brad says we're going to be the safest trucking company in the world, that's right here for us, for you. It's right here. It's not a matter of we need better drivers or we got the wrong people on the team. We've got the talent on the team. This is just executing the safe behaviors that produce the safe results, and everything flows from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, maybe a relating topic, and you know, it's been a little noise, I'll say recently, you know, as we're identifying some of these behaviors. You know, of course, our motivation is we want to be safe. We want you to be safe. We want everyone, you know, those around you to be safe. And certainly that's the motivation behind the engagement when we're talking to people about behavior that isn't safe. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in some cases, you know, we've got people that continue the behavior and they're just not good fits for Hirschbach, you know, and that's unfortunate, but we're not gonna, as I've said many times before, we're not gonna let, you know, a rotten apple or two spoil the bunch.
Yeah.
So that happens. In other cases, you know, we're working with people on, you know, trying to get them to improve. Maybe they're have a tendency to speed too much. They have a tendency to follow too close. Maybe there's some distracted driving that occurs, and you know, in some cases, you know, the incentives that we've got out there are incentives to be earned, and you know, and you know, if someone is not operating safe, mm-hmm. you're not earning a bonus, and you know, anyway, that we've got a relatively small group, about 5% of the operators that are having their bonuses impact due to their safety performance out there. And I just thought that we'd talk about that a little bit. You know, basically, it's a way to, you know, you were talking about before we got on the air, we were talking about incentives a little bit.
Yeah.
And bonuses. Do you want to touch on that?
Well, sure. Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and there's a lot of different ways people look at that. So one thing to start with is that our organization, you know, our team, you know, the team that Brad leads, you want to pay those monies out.
Oh yeah, I want every one of you to earn every bonus that's possible out there. I want you all to make $100,000+ a year, you name it.
Yeah, and there's an idea that it somehow, again, this is just how some people think. I'm not saying you. I just know some stuff I hear, right? Just I listen a lot. The company's happy that I didn't get my bonus because now they get to hold on to the money. So there's an attitude people have. Well, that's good for the company. It's the opposite. Our leaders set the bonus structure and the incentive structure to reward performance that rewards the company. So when things are going well, when things are going well, it's like, good, we've got the ability to do this, and here's the reward for doing that. So in other words, even though some money is leaving the organization, right, it's because other good is going on that increases the success of the business. And so the company, we want to pay that stuff out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other way you can think about this maybe is if some people think that, well, if I don't get my bonus, the company took it from me. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to Brad talk about it, he keeps using the language that you earn that bonus. You know, you think about this, if our team collectively doesn't produce a profit in 2021, right? If at the end of the year we look at the books and it's like there isn't any profit here, nobody took the profit, right?
Yeah, we didn't earn it.
We didn't earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting way that people look at that. I tell you from the coaching team perspective, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of driver managers as well, and really, like I said, the whole company, it's frustrating when drivers don't earn their bonus because it's good to earn those monies, and it's like you're just leaving it right there. Some people just leave it right there because they won't do something as simple as follow the speed limit.
Yeah, you know, again, speaking to an even smaller group of people than than not too long ago that are still exhibiting some aggressive, unsafe behavior out there. And I just want to reiterate that we're not going to allow those few people to ruin it for us. We're going to work with you. We're going to, we're going to give you an opportunity to drive properly and professionally. And maybe the bonuses, are a way to, again, you got to earn those. And, it's not just having an accident that prevents, that would disqualify you from earning that bonus. This behavior, I mean, the difference between having an accident and not having an accident, if you're driving unsafe, is really just a matter of luck. Some people think that, my response time is better than someone else. It's not going to happen to me. I could follow someone at 1 second and be able to handle it or something like that.
It's just fun to listen to you talk because it's people sometimes think that if there's no accident, it must have been safe.
Right.
Yeah. And Brad's taken us back to the truth about it's the behavior. And every one of you, every one of us has seen someone over there do a whole bunch of bad driving and not have an accident.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get a ticket. We've all seen people speed and not get a ticket. We've all seen people tailgate and not have an accident. That doesn't mean it was safe. It just means that luck or fate hadn't caught up to that bad behavior in that moment. And so we focus on behavior because it's the behavior that produces the results. And then the other thing Brad said is some people have an attitude that somehow these rules don't apply to me because I haven't had one yet. I must be really quick at stopping my truck. Maybe the laws of physics are suspended here when I drive because I haven't had an accident yet. It's everything Brad said. We operate within those things, and the bottom line is that it's the behavior that drives those results, and the fact that it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it was safe.
No, not at all. So, we're really, as Rob said, we're focusing on the behavior. The behavior is what's going to drive the result in the accidents, and so, the organization maybe, again, the vast majority of you that have been operating safely and properly, there's no change to you now, and versus the way it was, 6 months ago. Okay, you're still operating safely, and no one's asking you to change the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that have had some bad habits and unsafe behavior, we are rolling up our sleeves and we are getting aggressive, and we are just not going to allow it. Yeah. And the behavior is cause for not earning your bonus. And so if you have that behavior, you're not earning it. And so whether that's the excessive speeding, whether it's the following too close, whether it's the distracted driving with the cell phones, fumbling with a map, reaching for your Garmin, whatever that sort of stuff is, if it's distracted, it's distracted, whatever the act is. And if you're finding yourself doing those things, you didn't get yourself ready. You didn't take the proper time before you started driving. And if something changed along the way, you got a call, hey, you're being diverted to a different place or something like that. Well, we can't be doing things on the fly out there. I mean, that's just not safe. We've got to find a safe place to pull over and sort of get ourselves ready for the change in the mission.
Yep, you bet. Make the right response.
Yeah.
You get lost, you get off route, something changes. Right response is to find a safe, legal place to park, regroup, and get ready again, and make another trip plan and proceed.
Yeah, I mean, how great is it going to be in this organization when everyone is operating safely at all times? Mm-hmm. What sort of reputation will you as an individual, will this organization earn? I mean, that is the badge that we want to earn. Is, man, these guys. Every time we see a Hirschbach driver, man, they're following the speed limit. They've got the right distance. They're in close quarters. Man, these guys, they're getting out. They're assessing the situation. They're putting down their markers for helping them guide the equipment into the right locations. They're just doing everything properly and helping others out there. You know, I mean,
it's good work.
Yeah,
it's good work to do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so a couple other maybe things as we finish up here today. I had mentioned that we're going to be adding some terminals. We're looking to add some terminals to the network. And, of course, building a new terminal takes some time. So we're looking at doing that in some locations. But we definitely want to add some existing terminals, a couple of them in particular, sooner than later. And we did find one so far. So the next addition to our network is going to be in Kansas City. We are going to be firing up a terminal in Kansas City probably in March is when, maybe February or March. So it's a nice terminal. We'll have some maintenance that'll be being done there. Likely looking at putting in some orientation of training some experienced drivers there. So excited to announce that Kansas City is going to be coming up online. We have a lot of traffic that goes to and through that market. It'll be a nice place for you to get your equipment worked on, and another safe place to park, which I know is such a challenge out there, and and a place that you can park if you live in the area, park your car there when you're out working. Leave your truck there when you go back home, so on and so forth. So,
good, yeah, it's fun, exciting news.
Yeah, very exciting. So, I guess I'd be remiss ending today without acknowledging, it's the end of, we just finished 2020. Obviously, it was a very memorable year in so many ways. Obviously, mostly. We'll remember it for the COVID virus that we've been dealing with and continue to deal with. But again, everyone here at Hirschbach has been doing a great job managing, continuing to manage their way through a challenging situation. And we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know we're all getting frustrated. Here, it's gone on for almost a year, but hang in there. I'm confident that we are going to get back to some level of normalcy here as the year progresses. Probably in the second half of the year versus the first half of the year, but we'll get there. And the other thing we've talked about throughout 2020 is there has been the whole. The issues with racial tensions and so forth have really raised their heads in 2020. And, as tough as that issue is, it's a real issue. And I'm glad that, in a sense, I'm glad that it's raised its head to us in the country. There's been just so much. I'm not going to get into a lot of politics and so forth, but there's just been a lot of divisiveness that's just been really unhealthy. We have an incredible country. It's the best country that's ever existed, and we all need to work together. Obviously, you're always going to have differences. Surely, Rob and I have differences. We'll have differences. I'll have difference with Jelaine, my wife. We'll have differences and so forth. But, you respect each other's differences. You listen to each other. We're all Americans here, and I'm really optimistic that maybe as bad as it's gotten here recently, that maybe this is what's needed in order to heal and bring things back together. And I'm certainly going to do everything that I possibly can to heal you know, and whatever I can do for our organization and the communities that that we participate in and so forth. And you know, we've been talking today a lot about safe driving and making sure that, you know, everyone here at Hirschbach is operating safely. You know, I would say the same thing in regards to you know, how we treat each other, and each other is not just each other here at Hirschbach. It's each other out on the roadways, in our communities, so on and so forth. Respect each other's differences, appreciate each other's differences, and recognize and appreciate that we're all Americans, and we're all part of the greatest country that exists. We certainly have some opportunities in our organization to improve. We have some opportunities in our country to improve, and we all need to work together to accomplish and achieve those improvements that we want to see.
Yeah, well said. There's a lot of us against them going on right now.
Yeah.
And we are all in it together, and I like how you went back to safety. That's what's going on in your workplace every day. There's other people out there, and it's not a you against them. It's everyone's in it together. I like to say, you know, go back to some of our kind of basic lessons in life. It's like take care of one another, love one another. I like to say, you know, love your neighbor out on the road. Somebody's waiting for him at home. Someone's waiting for you at home. And if we all act together to do well, then that's what we get.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's not us against them. You know, you hear in our industry a lot of time defensive driving, right? We don't use that term defensive driving here, right?
No, we got a better paradigm. We got a better mindset, better attitude about things.
Yeah, defensive driving sounds like, you know, it's us against them, right?
Yeah, me against you. I better win, right? I better defend myself. I better win.
Yeah. No, that's why it's protective, right? Protective driving. We're out there working together.
Yeah, take care of one another. Take care when you look out for the folks around you. You're also doing well yourself. It's not an either or. It's an and. It's an everybody. And
yeah,
that's what makes the work good.
Yeah, there's some great lessons to come from that. Not only in how you operate safely, but how you interact with others that are out there.
You bet.
So,
yeah.
anyway, with that, we'll sign off. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the hard work and the professionalism. We've got a lot of things to be proud of here at Hirschbach. It's been 2020 again is a year that the organization really stepped up, and everyone in the organization really stepped up under some tough circumstances. 2021, I'm really optimistic, is going to be a very exciting year and a very positive year, and a lot of opportunities for all of us. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend, and please be very safe out there.
Yeah, thank you, Brad, and thank you, everyone. Enjoy your 2021. Make it great.
All right. Great. Thank you.